In recent months, there's been a noticeable shift in the dairy industry away from simply growing cow numbers to increase production. As LIC's Malcolm Ellis explains, a new approach to driving productivity gains on farm is rapidly gaining momentum.
Into the 50s, we started identifying that we could have significant gains in productivity on farm if we identified elite bulls, and the sire proving scheme got underway. The process at LIC is really captured amongst those themes of identifying absolute elite males via our sire proving scheme, evaluating the performance of the daughter progeny to create our premier sires. And those premier sires now have the potential to collect in vicinity of 250,000 inseminations a year. The reproductive performance on farm is such a critical aspect of profitable dairying that we need to be really responsible about the way we go about the collecting and the handling and the processing of semen. And so we have rigorous process to work through in that respect. For 20 odd consecutive days during that peak of season, we're collecting, processing and putting out the window in the lab in the order of 100,000 straws per day. So it is a significant throughput. The association that LIC have had with the likes of Bruce and Bronwyn Jensen and their Green Mile herd is typical of a number of the associations and relationships that we build. We learn a lot from the breeder BW in the fact that there's a huge amount of, ability to identify elite animals, breed accordingly, and a lot of the husbandries relating to survival and everything else mean that we end up with a good portion of the really elite cows within a selected group of what we would call elite breeders. Cow families, the link we're looking for is really just stacking pedigrees with cow after cow of elite performance. So I guess that our experience with breeding bulls is you can have a really elite individual cow, but what we're really looking for is those really deep cow families. We'd certainly be looking for 3 and 6 generations of really high performance. I think what's really important is that we acknowledge that the principles of traditional selection of high quality performance in cow families is critical to get us that pre-selection, and then we'll breed the bulls onto the ground and use genomics as a secondary selection at that point. The breed makeup of this Green Mile herd is really interesting. There's significant history in the Jersey breed here, and in particular through the heritage of this particular cow family that we work with most in this herd. But this is actually a really great example here where they have also then integrated some Holstein Friesian matings to create Kiwi Cross. And in fact, the most elite cows in this herd now are a great combination of the two parent breeds. We have the opportunity with near 5 million cows in the population, a good number of them with recorded and with herd test information, that we can work our way through and identify from a productivity perspective first and foremost. That'll then bring us to the farm where we will then run the rule of traits other than production, where we're looking at everything from udder conformation through to body capacity, and then talking with the farmer around some of the management traits like temperament and milking speed. Efficiency is efficiency 101 for us. Like, the reality is we must be very conscious of what makes this industry what it is in New Zealand. And BW does that for us. It identifies efficiency with the relativity of performance versus live weight. So kilograms of milk solids per kilogram of live weight is a key factor. 15 or 20 years ago, when the measure was breeding index, it was all about productivity. Now that we're working with breeding worth, or BW, it's all about efficiency of the conversion of feed to milk. And so the live weight of the animal in relation to the output becomes really important, and that does define efficiency. For some 23 consecutive years, the industry grew by 100,000 cows a year. We now consider that we're at that cow population equilibrium, at reached cow peak. So now we're really looking at the value that can be delivered to the industry from our farmers milking better cows. One of the costs of the rate of growth that we saw in the industry is this sort of cow's a cow mentality. And so farmers were just milking any and everything on the way to grow the operations to the scale that they did. I guess what we really want to socialise now is taking a great deal of that data and information that can show just how much opportunity there is in the industry from milking fewer, better cows. So farmers are looking to things like once a day milking to decrease complexity and cost structures on farm. They're looking at things like A2 and other options to, I guess, shift the operation and the way the operations run from the norm, or to identify niche type opportunities that may exist. The challenge though is for farmers, I guess, is that in breeding in perspective, you play quite a long game. So if you're starting to breed towards A2 as an aspect, you want to be pretty confident that there is going to be the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when you finally arrive at that destination. We've recently been on a roadshow around 46 different locations. We came in touch with in the vicinity of 1,500 odd farmers. I guess what we wanted to do was to recognise on behalf of our farmer shareholders and almost sort of lead some of this recognition of the opportunities that exist in this changed environment. I think we needed to talk and quite openly with our farmers and recognising that it'll be a different game that we'll play in the next 10 to 15 years. And I think the key thing that really was a light on moment for our farmers was when we took the opportunity to share the national data to show the difference that has come into the industry between the productivity of the best performed quartile of New Zealand dairy cows and the poorer quartile of New Zealand dairy cows. And what it did show was a significant opportunity for farmers to drive on-farm productivity by milking better cows. So the figure was 160 kilograms of milk solids. So when the national herd is currently averaging 372 kilograms of milk solids per cow, the difference between the top quartile and the bottom quartile of all herd tested cows, once corrected for their age, their breed, and the location they're milked, is 160 kilos. And that, without any doubt, recognises a significant opportunity for our farmers.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.